Okay, so testing this out again with my mic. And I'm not hearing audio in the background, like a wave of my voice. So, I'm gonna close the audio from the Twitch stream I have. This is gonna be a lone stream today. First stream in the new year. Happy New Year. It's New Year's Day right now. And my name is Sina. I'm a software development student in Canada, and I like to code, but the reason I'm doing this stream right now is because um, I want to sort of show off my process whenever I do coding challenges, and I want to see what other people think. And I never really seen like this kind of genre on Twitch or much of anywhere before, like where people, or at least amateurs and beginners, actually record themselves coding, I think that would be really interesting to see, because I find for a lot of videos when I see someone else programming or code, it's someone in the industry, someone who's had some experience with software development, at least as far as I'm aware. Um, so for today, I'm actually going to be looking at a project, no, be looking at a coding challenge from Project Euler, if that's how you say it correctly. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna go to this screen right now, but just one second. I'm gonna click here, share my screen now. Right now I'm using XSplit Broadcaster. I found it way easier to set up with this software than with OBS, but yeah, Twitch streaming is very, very new to me. But anyways, for this program, we're going to be using, actually I'll go back here. For this challenge, it's going to be a really simple challenge about like finding all the numbers of all the multiples of a number, pretty much under a maximum number, and add them all together as the sum. It's a simple challenge for someone who hasn't done a lot of coding since like semester 2. Right now I'm in my 5th semester, and I feel like I'm so out of practice right now that this would be a good opportunity to get back into it while also sharing what I've learned. So it's not really, this stream isn't really gonna be like for learning new things if you want to learn, but more for seeing another student's process on how to do these things. So let's get to some coding. So I've already shared my screen here. I'm gonna use C# for this program, and I'll open Project Euler 2. And I'll actually have XSplit Broadcaster to my right here. I have 2 screens right now. Alright. So we'll see how this goes. I'm going to open up a new project. This one will just be like a .NET Core console application so that we can just focus on programming in C#. We're only going to really use the main method today, or I am, and I'll name it the problem that we're going to do. Multiples of 3 and 5 pretty much. So yeah, I'll just name it that. Real creative name right here, but let's fucking go. So yeah, they'll just save it to the repos. Solution can be in the same directory. Right, Visual Studio has a project file for C# and then also a solution file. Boy, it's been a while since I used C# actually. I think I only took one course on it in my 4th semester, and like now I'm coming back to it after a couple months. I like Visual Studio though. Visual Studio is really just makes coding a lot more comfortable because you can go uh, edit here, you can format or do some more advanced settings, and some other stuff too, like IntelliSense is pretty good. But anyway, I'm going to, and it's free, but I'm going to look at Project Euler right now. I'm gonna go over this problem, multiples of 3 and 5. And so for here, let's read it. If we list all the natural numbers below 10 that are multiples of 3 or 5, we get 3, 5, 6, and 9. So the multiples of these, or the sum of these multiples is 23. Find the sum of all multiples of 3 or 5 below 1000. Okay, so right off the bat, we could go about this a couple of ways. What I've learned to do, and what I used to do, like I think almost a year ago when I was actually still doing coding challenges, was I'd either just go right into cowboy coding, which is just start writing up some code right away. For this kind of challenge, that would be okay to do because it's really small, and we're only going to stick to the main method for now. But we're going to do it a little different way, like something more visual. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a flowchart, but let me just get rid of the arguments first. Visual Studio always adds string arguments for the command line. You can actually add arguments in the debug tab, but we don't need to do that because we're not really going to use any parameters in here in the main method. So I'm going to open up an application called draw.io, and what I'm going to do is step by step I'm going to see how to go about this program. So it'll just help to paste the description here so we have it in front of us, and we'll get a starting point. I'm more of a visual learner this way, so like flowchart usually helps me see the program flow through here, but some people prefer pseudocode, which is just writing in plain English the flow of your program instead of in a programming language. So if we list all the natural numbers below 10, yeah, so we'll start off with activity here, but like the first thing our program should do. So I'll just add a rounded rectangle. And sometimes it also helps to do like a list on the side. At least that's what I'm thinking at the moment. So sort of like a to-do list, pretty much. Just like some dot notes. So the first thing we do is pretty much set the max number. Any number we choose. So yeah, like we should be able to set the max number to any number we can choose for now, just for debugging, and then we'll keep it to 1000 at the end of the program, and we'll start with find all multiples of 3. Below max, all multiples of 5 below max. Pretty simple. And then finally add all the, or find the sum of all multiples. Okay, that's just like a basic list. I wonder if you can even see that because it's too small. I know this is a lone stream, but I need to make it more readable, I guess. So there. With Helvetica font. Ew. Okay, we'll make it Times New Roman. So I'm gonna zoom in here. Add some more text. We'll start with set max number, or just set max, pretty much. And then we'll branch that off to another activity. So I'll add another activity here. Okay, so we set the max number first, and then we'll find multiples of 3 below the max. The max is 1000, but we'll just say in general set max. And you can see, like, for finding all multiples of 3, how to do that, I guess, would be like dividing it. We can try out some stuff in the code, but or using mod. Okay, oh yeah, there's like this other arithmetic for, besides like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, called like mod. It's like a percent symbol, and I'll show you what it looks like, but usually we do that to find the remainder whenever we divide something. At least that's what I remember. So first, yeah, we'll find all multiples of 3, detect multiple. Or not, there needs to be a loop, of course. So like, basically while you're trying to detect multiple of 3 in like an if statement and a condition, then yeah, your condition can come up here in like a diamond. That's how it is in flowcharts. Alright. And we'll just add a simple yes and no. So if yes, then just continue to the bottom. If no, we want to go back to detect multiple, just so we don't leave our loop. Or I don't leave my loop. Again, this is a lone string. But yeah. Detect multiple of 3, yep. Go back here, otherwise continue on, connect this arrow to the diamond. There you go. Okay, so if no, then go back to detecting a multiple of 3. If yes, then go ahead and detect. Actually, there should be yeah, you're detecting a multiple of 3, and you also should be able to detect a multiple of 5, like in the same loop, right? So like, think of this as in one programming loop, pretty much, under 1000, and one if statement, or two actually, yeah, one if statement with one condition saying detecting a multiple of 3 or detecting multiple of 5. It could be and or I mean, not and. It's like Boolean logic. Back in semester 1. Okay. Yep, detect multiple of 3 or 5, that's perfect. And if yes, go ahead and add them all up. It's really not that deep. It's supposed to be pretty simple, but like, when you're out of practice, nothing seems simple. So, yep, find the sum. Okay, and I'll connect these together. And what else do they want? So, yep, just find the sum and then display to the console. So we'll get like an end bit right here. end node. Connect that together. It's pretty simple. And here's our flow diagram pretty much. Set the max number to 1000, or in this case we're just going to set it to a smaller number to test it faster, and then we'll change it to 1000. So that's good. That's pretty simple like idea. And now let's go to the actual code. Let's set it to a max number first. We'll just do it in the main method since this is pretty easy, and to run this we just click this here and it'll run it in a debug console for hello world. And yeah, there it is. You don't even need to write a console.readline at the bottom, because like C# you have to do that. But I won't do that here. I'll delete this. And so what I'll do is I'll create my max value. Yep, just var max equals console readline. And we're gonna parse the, because when we do console.readline here, wait, yeah, integer.parseInt. Not integer, that's for JavaScript. Int 32.parseInt. It's not called that. Capital P. Parse, not parseInt. There you go. Okay. So what we're doing now is we're getting standard input from the user, and we're turning that into an integer. So C# is strongly typed, and that just means that what our values, like whether it's a number, text, or whatever, those matter. Those matter a lot, and you need to really make them distinct when you're making a variables. And a variable is just a named value that you can reuse and change multiple times. So yep, we have our max value here. We'll also just write a message in the console saying enter the max value. Let's see. Got a multiple of 3 and 5. Yeah, I just enter that, and we're good. So we got our value, our max value, pretty much. And now we gotta go loop over it. So pretty much we gotta do for loop here. And I remember when I first learned the for loop back in semester 1, it was really difficult because like it comes into 3 parts. So I'll actually just type it out. So like the first part is supposed to be the actual index variable that's going to be added to, like how many times, or your starting point. So we'll say just int I is equal to 0, and our condition is going to say, is just like your starting point should be less than the maximum number, and the semicolon is just separating these 3 in the for loop. And the last one should be I++, just adding 1 to I. You could also just say I is equal to I plus 1, and that would be the same thing as I++. Let's just do I++. And yeah, like Visual Studio is awesome because it generates it for you. Pretty much my type 4, they'll make it for you. We'll say max here. Okay, so inside the loop we'll use an if statement to make our condition, and whatever's true here we're going to read inside. Oh, and another thing too, sometimes there's like too many races, so what we could do, yeah, just stuff like, or programming languages like Python don't use braces, they just use indentations to separate code and know which code block belongs to which statement. But for C# and also JavaScript, you gotta make sure you keep track of this. So it's just end of main, end of class program, end of loop, and we know what this is. So our condition here, I mentioned mod before, so I can also go over a search real quick just to verify what mod means. Yeah, the modular symbol, or modulo, from computerhope.com. Math operation that binds the remainder when one integer is divided by another. In writing, it's frequently abbreviated as mod, and the symbol is $sign for programming. So we'll get the remainder. So that's how we're going to detect our multiple here. I'm going to say here I mod, what was it? It was 3. I mod 3. If I mod 3 is equal to 0, so if the remainder is 0, that means we can divide by I by 3, and that means it's a multiple of 3. At least that's what I'm thinking. We'll see if it actually works. We did this a lot in semester 1, but like it would have taken me longer to do, honestly. Okay, we have this, and we'll start with 3. So if it's 3, let's print it out. Oh, that's fucking JavaScript. Okay, console.writeLine, and here we'll just say just I. We're just gonna print it out throughout the console here. So we're gonna say like max is 10 for now, and it should print out like the numbers that it says in the Project Euler challenge. For 3 it would be 3, 6, 9, so we should get that. Let's try that. Alright. Our max value is 10 here. Yes. Well, I added 0 too. That doesn't make sense. We don't want that. So we'll just make it 1. I can start at 1. Alright, so sorry, I'm having a bit of a brain fart right now. Let's see it again. 10. Yeah. Let's try 50. Yep. At least if my math is correct, those are the multiples of 3. Perfect. Pretty simple, you know, and then it's pretty much the same for 5. So like, I should explain these. And I should comment these some more. So pretty much this is how you do standard output in C#. Just console.write or console.write line. Write line just makes it move over to the next line in the console. Here we're just getting user input, parsing, so that just means converting to an integer and storing in a variable. And remember, a variable is a named value that you can reuse and also change over time, stored in memory. So this is our loop, and like I said before, the 3 parts are the starting point variable that exists only inside the loop, and the semicolon separates them, the condition, the break condition pretty much, like if it's false then the loop exits, and then the variable incrementing. Alright, and our condition here is pretty much if the remainder of 3 or 5 is equal to 0, then don't skip the if statement. Don't skip whatever's inside the if body. Okay, so we have I mod 3 when I enter 1000. Let's add 1000 right now. Yes, okay, that went crazy. So obviously we shouldn't be printing out like all of them because it's a lot of numbers on the screen there. But just for testing, that's why we did 10, you know? So yeah, that's for 3. Let's add them all up. In this case, we can add like create another variable called sum. Oh, and C# has like 2 ways you can make a variable. Like you can either use the var keyword to not really care what the variable data type is. So like var, this is a bit hard to explain, but like the normal way to make a variable is just if you say int, that just points to the integer 32 object in the .NET framework, I think, and that's just like the integer data type. That's just a number, not a decimal, but just a whole number. And whenever you say var, it just like after the name it detects the data type itself, but you can only use it locally. You can only use it inside a method and not as a data member or a global variable. So usually we're going to use var just because I like that. It reminds me of JavaScript, because JavaScript is like different than C# because it's dynamically typed, and that's just when the program doesn't care what value is paired with. The program doesn't care about the data type of your variable pretty much. It can change to any data type, but here it can't. In C# it cannot. So let's say sum, and do we have to give it a value? Yeah, we do. So we'll just say sum is equal to 0. And we're going to add it onto. And here we can pretty much just say sum is equal to I plus sum. And just like a faster way to do it is sum plus equals I. That's the same thing. I like shortcuts like that, but that's pretty simple, yeah. I is added onto sum, so instead of printing out I, well, I want it to print out I because I also want to test this afterwards. So like after the for loop, just like as the last thing that we're printing out, oh, I got distracted. So, okay, the last thing that we're printing out here is, fuck, the sum, duh. Alright, printing out the sum. We'll also add some text here. Multiples of 3 and 5 under the max number is okay. It is the sum. Okay, and let's try it. We're gonna run the program and let's see the output. Enter a max value, so we'll just do 10. Perfect. Cool, that's what I want. So, yep, all we need to do now is just say and. No, or. Right, okay. In programming, and is supposed to be the two like ampersand symbols, and or is supposed to be the two pipe symbols. These are called pipes, but they're just like vertical lines. Alright, so we'll use the or symbol. We'll say I mod 5 is equal to 0. Okay, so yep, if the integer is a multiple of 3 and 5, then add them together. But the problem here is like, what if the number is a multiple of both? Do you want to do them both together? No. No, if I don't think it mentioned that, actually. If you list all the natural numbers below 10 that are multiples of 3 and 5, or 5, yeah, so that's the example. No, I think, like, for example, if it's 30, then it's just going to be 130 because both 5 and 3 are multiples of 30, so yeah, that's fine. Okay, so we added them all together. Also, if I rerun it again, max is, we'll make it 50 and test it out. The sum of all multiples of 3 or 5 under the max number is, yeah, that makes sense. Yep, and just 130 there, 140, even if they're like the same multiples conflict, you know. Yeah, that's a really simple challenge from Project Euler. So let's figure out a way to clean this up, because like right now there could be a better way to go about this, or like a way to use methods sectioning off code. So one way we could make this a bit more spread out as if we create another method here. And there's some keywords that, well, ideally, like the audience I'm kind of doing this to would know or have like a basic understanding of this, but if you don't, this is this keyword is static. Just means that you're able to, okay, what? I lost my train of thought. Okay, let me make the method first and then I'll see about explaining this. So we'll say static void detect multiple. So we're created a method here, and methods or functions are pretty much actions in programming, and they should only do one thing pretty much, or be used for specific stuff. So for detect multiple, we want to be sending a multiple in there, right? So like just an integer. So we'll say int multiple. And for here, inside the loop, we'll just move this condition inside detect multiple. That doesn't make sense. What am I doing? Okay, we'll start with moving this code inside detect multiple, the loop and the condition, and we're going to pass on max into this method. So this shouldn't be multiple, actually. This should just be the max number that we're sending over. And for sum, the sum should be added onto in another method. I'm probably overcomplicating this. Okay, for this you know what? For this simple program, we don't need to mess with methods. Later on, we'll need to section up our code a bit more just to make it cleaner looking, and you know, we need to use methods to reuse code, and also to keep it not everything inside the main method. But for now, like, this simple program should be good. Is there anything else we need to do? Don't think so. We'll say 1000. Oh yeah, I gotta get rid of all the fucking numbers here. Okay, but we got all the multiples, which is nice. And they all add up together inside our cozy console. So that's the program pretty much. That's the first string. Yeah, let me switch my camera real quick. Alright. Okay, so that was the first Project Euler challenge that planned on doing today. It was really simple just because I wanted to see how this stream would go. Obviously no one is here, but that's sort of like a New Year's resolution I'm trying to do, is do more coding streams, or just streams on things that I care about, and we'll see what happens, you know. Something new that I'm trying here, because we've all been cooped up at home for so long, and yeah, I've always wanted to stream for a while, but just hadn't really had the resources to do that. You can see that, like, There's probably background noise from my laptop, and I am using a laptop right now, so that's kind of why it's not. I mean, right now you won't notice much of an issue because we're just doing lightweight coding, but later on, like if we get into, or if I do like a live project with something like Unreal or uh, another game engine, it's going to be heavier, and I don't think my computer can handle it. But anyways, yep, that's the stream. First stream I'm gonna do, or I did in the new year, and I'm pretty fucking happy about it. So, um, going to stop it now, and I'm going to do some other stuff. So take care, whoever's watching this, and next stream, I don't know. We'll probably go over another Project Euler challenge. I'm not like solid on the topic of this Twitch channel I want to do. It varies between coding and video games, but I need to see for the video games part if my laptop can handle both streaming and playing the game. But that's it for me. Take care, whoever's watching. I'm gonna stop this now. I need to change this or like have an outro scene. But anyways, we're done. Bye bye.